Over the years, one of the main talking points regarding Dave Ramsey and the advice he gives is that you can really get 12% return on your investments. And over the years, he has doubled down and tripled down. He will not back away from this claim. Here's an article from the Ramsey Solutions website, May of 2024, golly, 17 days ago. And their answer is the reality is that you can. There are mutual funds out there that have averaged 12% annual returns over the course of their history. You just have to know how to look for them. We obviously here love Dave Ramsey at the Wealth Group. Overall, he does so much good for people with their money, paying off debt, getting 15-year mortgages. But here, he has swung and missed repeatedly. And it's actually quite a simple explanation for why he says still that you can get 12% return, that's what the stock market has done. And so I'll keep reading here. When Dave Ramsey says you can make 12% return on your investments, he's using a real number that's based on the historical average annual return of the S&P 500, which of course is the 500 largest stocks in America. So let's look at what he gives some 30-year numbers here. So he says, for instance, from 1980 to 2010, the S&P's average was 12.71. There's a footnote here. And what that links to is a page that I've used many times over my career. It's a super helpful resource from a professor, Aswath Damodaran. I'm probably pronouncing his name wrong. A professor of business at the NYU Stern School of Business. He has this great data, historical returns on stocks, bonds, and bills. Back to 1928, rate of return for the S&P 500. So what Dave is doing here, and I'm going to pull up this is just the web-based version of the spreadsheet, but I have the actual spreadsheet I'll pull over here. So again, we were looking there at 1980 from Dave Ramsey to 2010. So I'm just going to show you how he gets that number first. In Excel, quite easy, an average. And this is what's known as an arithmetic average. So I'm going to grab 1980 right there. Scroll down to 2010. All right, click enter. Boom. The arithmetic average, 12.71% per year. Let's see if that checks out with Ramsey's article. It sure does. Okay. Well, the arithmetic average is as good as worthless to an investor. What matters is the geometric return, which Damodaran has on this spreadsheet. Okay, so he's got both the arithmetic. If you scroll down, since 1928, the arithmetic average is 11.66, but the geometric is 9.8%. So what the heck is the difference? The difference is, here's a helpful article from Investopedia. And it says here, the geometric mean differs from the arithmetic mean in how it is calculated. The former, being the geometric mean, takes into account the compounding that occurs from period to period. Because of this, investors usually consider the geometric mean to be the more accurate measure of return. That's a soft way of saying it's what actually matters. Because investors care about what did I actually earn on my money? So if I had invested in the professor here has it on the spreadsheet. If you started with $100 at the beginning of 1928, what did you have at the end of 2023? Your $100 became $787,000, which is remarkable. And so the rate of return that you earned on your money over that period is what this 9.8% is. And I can make it even more simple how this plays out in just the last 2 years of data. Ultra simple spreadsheet here. In fact, I should make this bigger. Okay. In 2022, the U.S. stock market, as measured by the S&P 500 index, was down 18.2%. And then in 2023, it was up 26.3%. So according to Dave Ramsey, the last 2 years, the stock market averaged 4.1% return, right? If you just add negative 18 and 26 and then divide by 2, that's your arithmetic average. But we know that is Not helpful, because here's what $1,000 investment would have done these last 2 years. You started with 1,000, so at the end of 2022, you ended up with $818, down 18.2%. And then you earned 26.3%, but you started with 818 because you went down. So your growth on that 26% growth leads you back to $1,034. So right away you can see you're up a cumulative 3.4% total. Okay, so divide that by 2, and your annualized rate of return was 1.7%. So you can see the big difference there. And if we go back to Ramsey saying 12%, when really the market, the S&P 500, has earned 9.8% per year. 9.8%, obviously any of us for the next 50 years or 10 years would take that to the bank. We would love that. I don't know what the next 50 years will bring in America for stock market returns. But the problem is, if people go into investing thinking they're going to earn 12, they're set up for disappointment, right? And then there's a much broader discussion that should be had decade by decade, right? The decade by decade returns in the US stock market, which we talk about with clients, vary so widely. For example, we all remember, most of us know, the 2000s were known as the lost decade in stocks. So at the end of 1999, you had 156,000 here. And then at the end of 2009, 10 years later, you were down. Your 156,000, even with dividends, you were down to 142,000. Brutal. So you have to survive. Part of what we help our clients do is survive those long and lonely bear markets. Now, they're not usually full lost decades, but it can happen. Long periods where stocks are either flat or negative, and you have to just hold on, because lo and behold, 10 years later, you're 142,000 by the end of 2019 had grown to 502,000. So if you can strap in and get through the bear markets, you do get those bull markets. But you don't want to get disillusioned from the difficult times, nor do you want to get disillusioned by thinking you might earn 12% when really the average is more like 10% or even a little bit less, depending on the time period you're looking at.